In the center of Lagos, where the air smelled like ambition and traffic horns sang all day, stood a mansion so big it could swallow a football field. This was the home of Madame Veronica Kingsley, a woman so rich that even her problems wore designer clothes. People said she never smiled unless money was involved, and honestly, they were right. Her late husband had built Kingsley Industries from scratch. Steel, construction, real estate, you name it. When he died, Madame Veronica didn't just take over, she upgraded. Her meetings were like battles, sharp heels, sharp words, sharper results. The only soft part of her life was her only son, Adrian Kingsley, the handsome, Harvard-polished prince of the Kingsley Empire. Adrian had everything people prayed for: looks, brains, cars, money, and unfortunately, a mother who wanted to control his future like a puppet master. Her latest plan? Get him married to Cassandra Belmont, daughter of another billionaire. 2 families, 1 massive empire. A match made not in heaven, but in the boardroom. But life, that cheeky troublemaker, had its own script. Working quietly in that mansion was Leah Brown, a young maid from Ibadan with eyes that carried both peace and pain. She moved through the Kingsley mansion like a gentle breeze, unnoticed but necessary. She didn't talk much, but when she smiled, even the chandeliers seemed to shine brighter. Adrian first noticed her one evening when she brought his forgotten coffee to his study. "Sir, you left this," she said softly. He looked up, tired from hours of typing. "Oh, thanks. What's your name again?" "Leah," she replied, her voice steady, but her heart racing. Something in the way she said it stuck in his mind. Leah. Simple, warm, real. Everything his world wasn't. From then, it started small. A good morning here, a polite smile there. Soon, their paths crossed more often than coincidence could explain. Leah had a calmness that Adrian found addictive. She listened, really listened, something he didn't even realize he was missing. One rainy evening, when the mansion echoed with thunder and the generators hummed like tired lions, Leah found Adrian sitting alone on the balcony. The rain fell in silver sheets, and for once, he looked less like a billionaire's son and more like a lonely boy trapped in expectations. "Why so serious, sir?" she asked, half joking. He smiled faintly. "Maybe because my life isn't mine anymore." Leah tilted her head. "Whose is it then?" "My mother's, and the board of directors," he sighed. "Everyone has a plan for me, except me." Leah chuckled lightly. "Maybe that's why God gave you free will, to confuse them." That made him laugh, really laugh. And from that night, something fragile but powerful began to grow between them. Friendship, though everyone could tell it wanted to be more. But Adrian wasn't stupid. He knew the rules. A Kingsley doesn't fall in love with the help, so he buried it under jokes and casual smiles. Leah did the same, though every time he laughed, her heart performed a full choir concert inside her chest. Weeks turned into months. Then came the night everything changed. Adrian had just won a multi-million naira government contract, his first major victory without his mother's shadow. He threw a small celebration for himself at the mansion. Champagne flowed, laughter echoed, and for once, Adrian looked like he was free. Leah tried to avoid the noise, but when he called her over to help him to his room, slightly tipsy and glowing with pride, she couldn't say no. "Just stay for one drink," he insisted, grinning like a mischievous child. To celebrate, Leah hesitated, then gave in. Just one. One became two. Two became, well, enough to make both of them forget that she was the maid and he was the master. They talked, laughed, and before they knew it, the world blurred. The night carried them into a storm they didn't plan, and by morning, she woke up in his bed, surrounded by clothes that told a story neither of them was ready to face. Leah covered her gasp. She dressed faster than light, tears stinging her eyes. "What did we do? Oh my God," she whispered and ran away before he could wake up. For weeks, Leah avoided him like sin itself. She threw herself into work, refused to look him in the eye, and prayed every night as if she could delete the memory by fasting. Adrian noticed, confused and hurt, but she gave excuses that sounded fake even to her. Madame Veronica, of course, noticed everything. That woman could smell a secret from 3 kilometers away. One night, she overheard their whispered conversation outside the kitchen, and her heart froze. Her son was falling for the maid. In her world, that wasn't romance. That was rebellion. And Madame Veronica Kingsley did not lose battles, not even to love. That night, as rain poured outside, she sat in her massive bedroom, swirling a glass of red wine and whispering to herself, "If it's war she wants, then war she'll get." She smiled, that dangerous kind of smile that promised chaos, and made a phone call that would change everyone's lives. Morning sunlight danced across the marble floors of the Kingsley mansion. Madame Veronica Kingsley had made up her mind. She would destroy whatever foolish connection existed between her son and that maid from Ibadan. In her view, love was good for movies, not for billionaires. That afternoon, she called her assistant, a nervous-looking man named Philip, who had the unfortunate habit of sweating more than the weather required. "Philip," she said, sipping her tea calmly, "I need someone to do a little job for me, something quiet, something private." Philip swallowed. "Yes, ma'am. What kind of job?" She smiled, the kind of smile that made people pray silently. "A small performance." By the time the conversation ended, Philip was shaking like a goat in Harmattan. But he obeyed. Nobody refused Madame Veronica. Leah, meanwhile, was trying to heal her soul with prayer and house chores. She avoided Adrian like a plague. Every time she saw him, her heart raced and her guilt grew. She didn't know what to say to him. Adrian noticed her silence, but misunderstood it. He thought she regretted spending time with him because of his status. He didn't know she was scared of what her heart had done without permission. One evening, as Adrian packed for a short business trip to Abuja, he tried to speak to her again. "Leah," he said softly, "we need to talk." She froze. "About what, sir?" He sighed. "You know what." That night. "Please don't," she whispered, her voice trembling. "It was a mistake. I'm sorry." He looked hurt, but he nodded slowly. "All right, I'll respect that." If only he knew the full truth, or what was waiting to explode while he was away. The day after Adrian's flight, Leah woke up to what felt like a normal morning. She cleaned, she served breakfast. She tried to keep her heart from thinking too much. That night, after a long day of chores, she lay down to rest, and that's when Madame Veronica's plan began. A strange man, one of the actors hired by Philip, was secretly led into Leah's room and carried her to Adrian's room and laid her on his bed. He was told it was part of a surprise inspection, that no one would get hurt. He didn't even know he was being used as a trap. The next morning, before the son could even gossip about what happened, Madame Veronica barged into Leah's room with 2 guards and a camera. There, she found Leah sleeping, and beside her, the man she'd never seen before. Leah's scream was so loud it could have shattered glass. "Who are you? What are you doing here? Why am I here?" The man panicked, jumped off the bed, and ran out half-dressed, leaving confusion behind. Madame Veronica stood there pretending to faint from heartbreak. "Oh, so this is what you do in my house? Sleeping with strangers in my son's bed?" "No, Ma, I swear I don't know him," Leah cried, shaking her head. "I didn't do anything." But Madame Veronica already had the photo, the one that would ruin everything. By noon, Leah's things were thrown out onto the street like garbage. The staff whispered. Some pitied her. Others avoided her eyes. Madame Veronica's voice echoed through the compound like thunder. "Never come near my family again, you shameless girl. I gave you work, and you repay me with disgrace? You're fired, and may you never cross my path again." Leah fell to her knees on the dusty driveway, tears soaking her face. "Please, Ma, I didn't—" "Out!" Madame Veronica shouted, "before I call the police." That night, Leah slept in a cheap lodge by the roadside, clutching her bag and crying silently. She didn't even know what hurt more: losing her job, losing Adrian, or losing her dignity. She prayed again, but this time, her words came out broken. "God, if you're there, please see me. I didn't do wrong. You know I didn't." Her stomach twisted with nausea. The stress, the fear, the shame, all mixed into something heavy. But she didn't know that what she was feeling wasn't just sadness. It was the beginning of something new, growing quietly inside her. When Adrian returned from Abuja 3 days later, the mansion felt off. Too quiet, too clean. He looked around. "Where's Leah?" Madame Veronica sighed dramatically, holding a tissue to her nose like a stage actress. "Don't ask about that girl. She's gone." "Gone? Why?" "She betrayed you, Adrian." She pulled out her phone and showed him the picture. Leah asleep beside the strange man. "While you were away, she brought someone into this house, into your bed." Adrian's world froze. His chest felt heavy, his throat tight. He wanted to deny it, but the photo looked real. "No, she wouldn't," he whispered. "Oh, she did," Madame Veronica insisted, pretending to wipe a tear. "I saved you just in time. That girl only wanted your money." Adrian walked away quietly. For days, he said nothing. He worked, traveled, and smiled for cameras. But inside, something in him had died. Months passed. Leah returned to Ibadan, where her aunt took her in. The pregnancy became clear. She was carrying Adrian's child. Fear almost broke her, but she decided to live. "I won't raise my son with hate," she told herself. "I'll raise him with hope." She named him Ethan, and as years passed, she built a new life. Small business, hard work, late nights, and silent prayers. Every time she looked at Ethan's face, she saw Adrian's eyes staring back. Back in Lagos, Adrian refused to marry Cassandra, no matter how much pressure his mother gave. "I'm not ready," he'd say, though his mother would hiss, "You're not ready, or you're still thinking of that maid." He'd walk away. He couldn't explain it, but even after 5 years, Leah still lived in his chest like a quiet ghost. Meanwhile, Leah had grown into a woman of strength and purpose. Her small business turned into Brown Holdings, a company she built with brains, sweat, and faith. She became a billionaire quietly, not with noise, but with grace. Her success made her name echo across Nigeria. Brown Holdings CEO, young, smart, fearless, the headline said. But deep down, Leah still wondered if Adrian ever knew the truth. But fate, the world's most dramatic scriptwriter, wasn't done with them yet. One bright morning in Lagos, 2 business empires prepared for a meeting over a large piece of land in Lekki. The conference room gleamed like polished ivory, the sunlight bouncing off the marble floors and glass walls. Executives shuffled papers, whispered numbers, and tried to look important. Leah walked in confidently, heels clicking, dress sharp, smile calm. She was ready to negotiate like a queen. Beside her, a little boy tugged on her hand, eyes wide and curious. Then, across the table, she saw him, Adrian Kingsley. Time froze. Adrian's heart skipped. Something felt off, not the usual butterflies, but a storm brewing. He remembered that picture his mother had shown him years ago. Leah in bed with a stranger. His chest tightened. She had betrayed him. And now, she walked in front of him like nothing had happened. As Leah set up her notes and smiled politely at the staff, Cassandra Belmont walked in. She paused mid-step. Her eyes widened, not at him, but at Leah and the boy. Cassandra's face twisted, surprise, recognition, and then a quiet understanding. Without a word, she turned on her heel and left the room. Before she left, she called Madame Veronica. "Mom, I saw Leah, and she has a boy with her. Could he be Adrian's son? I can't lose him." On the other end, Madame Veronica's hand tightened around the phone. "What? Don't worry, Cassandra. I'll handle this." Little did Cassandra know, she had just lit a fuse. That evening, Madame Veronica sat in her grand office, the city lights of Lagos glittering like tiny promises outside her window. She whispered into her phone, like a general plotting war. "Yes, Leah Brown will regret ever walking into that boardroom. She and that child will vanish from my world." Her words were cold, calculated, venom hidden under a motherly tone. She had no idea Adrian had returned early from work, wanting to discuss a potential joint venture. As he approached her office, he overheard every word. His blood boiled. His mother, the woman who had tried to control his life, was now plotting against the woman he realized he still loved, and her child. Adrian pushed the door open without knocking. Madame Veronica jumped. "Adrian, Stop," he said, voice low and dangerous. "Stop right now. No more lies, no more games." Madame Veronica tried to regain control, but Adrian was already 2 steps ahead. He had quietly been building a business empire of his own, bigger than hers in scale and reach. And if she continued her plans, her empire would crumble beneath his. "Back off, Mother. Leave Leah and her son alone. Stop pushing Cassandra onto me, or you'll see firsthand what happens when someone underestimates me." Madame Veronica's pride battled reality. Slowly, reluctantly, she nodded. "Fine," she whispered, defeated. Days later, Adrian finally convinced Leah to join him for lunch at a quiet, upscale restaurant. The sunlight reflected off her hair as she approached, the little boy skipping alongside her. Her confidence had grown, but the mystery in her eyes remained. They sat down. Adrian watched her carefully, his heart heavy. He still thought she had betrayed him. That night, the bed, the photo. "Adrian, you need to know the truth. It wasn't me. It was your mother. She staged that entire scene to make it look like I betrayed you, betrayed our friendship." Adrian's hands shook slightly. "My mother? She did all that?" he asked, voice thick with disbelief. Leah nodded, eyes steady. "I had nowhere to go. I had to leave. I prayed every day, Adrian. I never stopped thinking about you. And this boy?" She lifted her son's small hand. "He's yours." Adrian's heart skipped again, this time with hope and fear. I need to know for sure. Leah, would you agree to a DNA test?" She smiled, a mix of sadness and relief. "If it proves your heart right, Adrian, then yes." The results came back days later. Adrian sat in the same office, DNA report in hand. His pulse raced as he opened it. When he saw the results, confirmed, he nearly laughed and cried at the same time. The boy was his. His heart swelled, his eyes misting over. Leah walked in, her expression a mix of anxiety and hope. "Well?" Adrian stood, rushing to her. "Well?" he repeated. And then he kissed her hand gently. "It's true. It's all true. Our son, our family, it's real." Tears streamed down Leah's face as she laughed and cried at the same time. The weight of years of betrayal, heartbreak, and separation lifted in an instant. Madame Veronica tried one last time to interfere, but Adrian was no longer a boy she could control. He had learned the hard way how dangerous secrets and lies could be, and how powerful love was. From that day on, they lived with a love stronger than wealth, more enduring than revenge, and richer than any empire.